Hi everybody, this is Kyle Tomson with Tomson Burnham Real Estate. I am a real estate agent in Salem, Oregon, in the heart of the Willamette Valley, and we are now into July, which means it's time for my second quarter market report. We have had a full quarter of higher interest rates, and there are a lot of stories coming out about how the housing market is slowing, so we're going to take a deep dive in the numbers and see how those higher rates are affecting the local market here in Salem. So stay tuned. So there are four metrics that I look at when I'm analyzing the real estate market. The first is the total number of units sold. Then I look at the median home price, then the median days on the market, and the last is the absorption rate. Now, typically, when I compare these numbers, I'm comparing them to the same quarter a year ago. And I do that because real estate has seasons, and so comparing a quarter in the deep of winter to the spring market is going to give you some misleading results. But that said, because interest rates have gone up so fast, because home prices have gone up so fast, I am going to look at a couple of these metrics, comparing it to the first quarter of this year. So we've got a lot of numbers to unpack today. So first, we're going to look at total number of units sold. So in the second quarter of 2022, there were 2,571 units sold, not just in Salem, but in our Willamette Valley MLS, which includes a bunch of small towns around Salem. You could think of it as about a 30-mile radius around Salem. Now compare that to the second quarter of 2021, and we're down about 250 units, or about 9%. But you have to remember that 2021, the second quarter of 2021, was peak frenzy of the real estate market. So we are definitely not in peak frenzy right now. And so it's not really unexpected that that number is going to drop a little bit. And it still is kind of in the mix of what we were seeing in 2018, 2019, and 2020. So the interest rates aren't affecting the total sales number all that much yet. So next we're going to look at median home price. So as you would expect, the median home price has gone up a lot since last year. We're up 14%, up to $445,000 from the second quarter of 2021. But what is interesting is we also increased significantly from the first quarter of this year, up 6% from quarter one of 2022. Now, there's always a little bit of increase between the first quarter and the second quarter, but 6% is a lot. It's twice what we would normally see from the first quarter to the second quarter. So again, the interest rates not seeming to affect our median home price quite yet. Okay, so we're seeing the same thing for median days on the market. Our median days on the market for second quarter were 48 days. Now that's a little bit longer than the second quarter of 2021, which was 45 days, but a little less than we saw in the first quarter of this year, where it was 51 days. Now, there is some variation that happens in this particular metric because a lot of that time is the banks and the title company doing their thing. So this again is really kind of in the noise and what we would expect to see variation from quarter to quarter. Now, where we are seeing some changes is in the absorption rate. Now, the absorption rate, if you're not familiar with that term, is a measure of how fast the current inventory will sell at the current sales rate. So for instance, if 100 homes per month are selling and there are 100 homes active on the market, then our absorption rate is 1 month, 30 days. Because if no new homes come on the market, then all of those homes will sell and we'll be at zero inventory. So in the second quarter of 2022, we are at 34 days of inventory. Now you compare that to the second quarter of 2021, we were at 18 days. So that's a pretty big percentage increase. It's nearly double. And when you compare it to the first quarter of this year, we had dropped all the way to 10 days of inventory, which now we're over 300% higher. So on the surface, that looks like, oh, the market is really, really slowing down. But you have to remember, a balanced market where we have the same number of buyers and sellers, 6 months of inventory, 180 days. We are a long ways away from having a balanced market, although we are seeing some changes to that, showing that the market is slowing. Okay, so what does all of this mean? Well, my take is that a lot of buyers have been taken out of the market because of the higher interest rates, but not enough buyers to affect our real estate market in any meaningful way. I think, and I would be surprised if this plays out in a very similar way to the subprime crisis. You know, in 2009, in the height of the subprime housing crisis, Salem at one point had the #1 housing market in the country, strongest market anywhere. And it wasn't because we were doing anything different. We just never saw the run-up in prices that so many areas had seen. So we didn't have near as far to fall. And I would not be surprised if that same kind of dynamic happens this time. You know, we had a 14% run-up in prices over the last year. And while historically that is a big number, compared to a lot of other areas, that's quite modest. And so while buyers are being taken out of the market, then they come and they look at Salem, and we're a city of 200,000. We've got all the amenities you could want. You've got a short driving distance to a major metro, and they're looking and they look at all that and say, and I can still afford a house there. And so my sense is that that's helping support our market right now. But we're going to need another quarter of data to really get some clarity on this. If at the end of the third quarter, we have the numbers exactly the same as they are in the second quarter, well, then that'll support my theory that a lot of buyers are looking at Salem because our home prices are more affordable here. If, on the other hand, that absorption rate goes way out, prices flatten or go down, if the days on the market goes out, then that's going to be an indicator that those higher interest rates, they are affecting our market. They just took a little longer for those effects to materialize. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my second quarter market report. If you liked what you saw today, click that subscribe button that you see on your screen, and you'll be alerted when my next video goes live. I'll see you next time.